Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division qualifying round edition for the Winter Major Tournament in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure that you do hit that like button. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the notifications, and you can follow the info box on the right hand side to get the adjustments that is in this playthrough. Have in mind that those are suggestions, you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. Get the ultimate tournament guides for Master Division or any other division in Golf Clash, also Tour Play obviously. Go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. In the end though, let's have some fun. A lot of send it wins, so we are going to blast it a lot in this playthrough, and you will see drops on basically every single hole almost. So enjoy, and let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're gonna start with a no movement shot, and here I do play with 6.2 bars of topspin, and then I will be adjusting max plus 40. There is one thing that we need to have in mind here, is that I do pull 10 rings to then take a look at what plus yardage am I in, and that is plus 2. So plus 2 is my plus yardage, and that equals in my book 6.2 bars of topspin. Once that has been adjusted the full way, we are going to pull back and go max overpower and try to hit perfect. And the ball bounces nicely, and then you can see that we catch that nice little roll there and getting this one very close for an hole in one here. The thing that we do need to have in mind, that then the reason I also mention the plus 2 yard mark after a 10 ring pull is because if we do adjust 10 rings with Apocalypse 8 and we end up at plus 4 or plus 5, we need to add a whole bar of extra topspin. That is because we have a different wind angle, and that wind angle is obviously going to give the ball a different effect. So if you make a mistake there, or obviously if you're just very unlucky, then you get the risk to have a dead bounce into the rough and will not roll out, and then you have a tough rough iron towards the pin. Unfortunately, that is something we're going to have to gamble with, and something that it's impossible for anyone that plays this game to dial in 100%. So we need to have that little portion of luck, but be prepared to play a shot from the rough if you are, once again, very unlucky with the outcome of this shot, which unfortunately is going to happen, especially if you play this shot several times. For hole number 2, we shall play with the rock, and we start just when it turns over to plus 1 with the blue ring by the rough line to the left. Now we will apply spin. Spin is going to be 3 bars of side spin to the right and 3.2 bars of top spin. Now when we do pull our rings here, we shall pull with a 1201 pull angle. We do adjust for max plus 5 power 2 ball settings. So max plus 5 power 2 ball settings, and once that is done, we will apply curl. So you can see here that we're using 0.75 ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right, and we're making sure that we have that line in a perfect way. The ball comes up here very nicely, and we get up the hill, and we fall down exactly as we want to, and we get this ball to drop for a lovely hole in one. This one has dropped a couple of times, but the thing with the green point with the winter version, and especially the par 3s, is that they have a lot of glitchy spots, and it is important to have that in mind, that even if the shot didn't end up exactly as you wanted to, you could actually be just unlucky due to all the glitchy spots there. But this is a good chance and a good shot to play for hole number 2. For hole number 3, we are going to play with max topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right, starting at plus 18 yard mark with the blue ring by the rough line to the right. Now I do push my rings, so I don't struggle when it times to pull. Obviously, not having grid lines is going to make this a little bit more difficult than what it is with it. Adjust max plus 20 power 4 ball numbers. We go with 3/4 of a ball in curl to the right and max overpower. So here you shall be using max overpower regardless. Hitting a great left will still be fine, even though it is a little bit dangerous hitting great in the wind instead of against the wind, as you know, kinda not really close to the rough line there. We're getting the ball down nicely to 394 yards. Now for the second shot, we play with the club that gives us the most power, in my opinion, just to make sure that if we are unlucky with the drive, then we can compensate for that by playing with the Cataclysm for the second shot. You can see that I'm having 2.5 bar topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right. I do adjust based on my club distance, so it's gonna be around medium to maximum distance depending on where you end up. And once I have adjusted and I'm going to take my shot, I add 2 rings of overpower. And it maybe looks weird when, again, you know, we are not in max position. But we shall still use 2 rings of overpower to make sure to compensate for the loss of distance we get when we do adjust down the hill. The thing that we do need to have in mind with hole 3, that I played this one purely for an eagle. I'm not pushing with curl for the second shot. I'm not doing a double rough bump or like a double bounce in the rough to roll out. It's not worth it in a qualifying round with that wind, in my opinion. For hole number 4, we're gonna start by adding spin. 1.5 bar of a side spin to the right and 3.3 bars of a back spin. And once that has been set, we are looking to find the position. This one is a little bit tricky, but I want you to focus on mainly the second and the third bounce. You can see that the third bounce is in the center of the dark green square, and then we do have the second bounce approximately half a ring outside the rough. And then we have the top of the white ring to be just by the rough line, or like just slightly inside the rough line. Hard to see, that's why we're looking at the ball guideline most especially to find the correct position. Medium distance plus 15, which is power 2, and also power 2 ball settings, which is 1:1. So 7.4 miles per hour is adjusted 7.4 rings. If you do have a wind that is above 8.1 miles per hour, I would recommend to add 1 extra decimal. So if you have an 8.3 miles per hour wind, for example, you play 8.4 rings. So this one is really good. I have yet to miss this one with a perfect. Obviously that's gonna come at some point, but this is a good shot for hole number 4. For hole number 5, we are going to send it again. We start by having the bullseye just by the cutoff between the rough and the fairway. Once that is done, we will adjust for a maximum distance plus 10. Once we have adjusted for maximum distance plus 10, we will push up to complete max. Make sure that you do push up in a way that the ball guideline are pointing straight towards the tee box. Now, we're not done yet. Now we're going to adjust for the power slice. With Apocalypse level 8, you adjust 26 rings. With Apocalypse level 7, you adjust 24 rings. And with Apocalypse level 5 or 6, you do adjust 20 rings with that. 2 bars of side spin to the left. I'm using, in this case, 3 bars of top spin with 18.1 miles per hour. Full overpower, full curl, and we'll play a power slice, and you will notice that this ball is going to bounce on the fairway into the rough and just creep out to get ourselves a short, easy wedge towards the pin. If you do have a lower wind, we're going to play the same type of play, and I'm going to show you a shot with a lower type of wind as well. And we're going to talk about something that we need to have in mind here with low wind. Anything below 16.5 will give us a risk of, unfortunately, clipping the first piece of rough because the wind is not as strong as we want to. But there is a little trick that we can do for that if we do end up there. But first, I'm going to show you just the regular adjustment that's already explained. So we do adjust max plus 10, we push up to max, and then we adjust 26 rings with Apocalypse level 8. So, the thing that we need to have in mind here now, if you look at the beach, or like the water and the sand that you can see there on the left, if we do adjust all the way down there, we will have we will be on a lower surface than what we otherwise would be. So to be able to make sure that you always are going to reach over the rough here and not struggle with, you know, clipping the first piece of rough, which you can do in very low wind, then I would suggest you to use somewhat a fixed position into the rough, meaning you stretch out the max and you let the right side of the white ring to be resting by the edge of the rough. That way you will be on a higher point at the surface than you would be if you are more left, and that will help you get that extra yardage that you need in low wind to be able to get the ball to the green area. And obviously the plan is to have the first bounce on the fairway, second bounce into the rough, and then roll out. There has been posted condors on this hole, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see more during the qualifying round. So yeah, hole number 5, we go for green on a par 5. Silly but true. For hole number 6, we are going to play with a power 5 wind 4 ball, which in this case is the Namhe ball, but it has the same stat as the Megalodon ball that is listed in the info box on the right hand side. Blue ring by the rough line with a POC 7 and a POC 8. If you play a POC 5 or a POC 6, you use half of the blue ring inside the rough to the left. Adjust max plus 10, and then we shall push up to max. Max overpower and max curl to the right. And here obviously playing with a ball with a better needle speed like the Namhe ball compared to the Megalodon ball is going to be better. Now we do get this ball to bounce very nicely, and you can see that we use max topspin, no side spin whatsoever. 492 yards, which is perfect. Now second shot is going to be a little bit tricky, and here you're going to have to be prepared to adapt with your shot. It's either going to be with a wedge in close to max distance, or it's going to be with a short iron in very close to minimum distance. We're going to take a look at the wedge as a start. So the wedge here, the thing that I'm looking at is to have 3 bars of backspin. That is what I'm adding directly. Now I'm looking at the bottom of the red ring to be just by the top of the fringe with the ball guideline to the hole. Now plus 2 yard mark equals 93% slider with a 35% over adjustment power 5 ball settings. So plus 2, as you can see there on my club, is 93% slider, 35% elevation, and then that's going to be brilliant. And you can see here now we have adjusted, we're gonna take our shot and we're gonna hit perfect. And we can also look here, we see that nicely comes right at pin for a beautiful eagle with a very tough shot, because that is a tough shot with that type of wind. Now we're gonna change around a little bit here in the info box. We're gonna do min distance here for the short iron. We're gonna take a look at a shot like that as well. I'm gonna remove that, and then we're going to have the 35 is gonna be removed as well, and we're gonna do that as minus 10% is what we're gonna do here. So minus 10 is what we're looking for. See if I can find that just here. Sorry about that. There we go. Minus 10% is what we do have. And now we're gonna take a look at what we do with our Falcon. Because here I want you to play with a Falcon if you have that possibility. If you don't, then you play with a Thorn and do the same type of process. So here you can see I play with a Falcon. Now I'm very interested to see how many rings from min distance line will I position myself. So I will have my target there. So look here, now I go back to minimum distance here. Then I push up the amount of rings that I need. So I push up 5 rings in this case. And the thing that I do with 5 rings is that I do adjust 6% slider for 5 rings from minimum distance line. Minus 10% elevation is what I'm using, and we're gonna hit perfect. You can see here that it comes down very nicely, once again, right at pin for a beautiful eagle. This is the toughest hole that we do have combined with hole number 3 for the qualifying round, and this shot should be considered a bonus to drop this one, and definitely going to be a great one to have on your scorecard. For hole number 7, I do decide to go with an Apocalypse route, which I feel is absolutely money. With Apocalypse level 8, we focus on the red ring by the sand trap line, the red ring by the rough line, and then we will apply spin. 2.8 bars of side spin to the right and half a bar of backspin. And once that is done, we will apply an adjustment that is maximum distance plus 10, power 3 ball settings. And to make it even more simplified, with Apocalypse level 8, that is 1 to 1 minus 0.2. Now, we still need to add a little bit extra here, and that is the curl. You can see that I'm just covering the teeth on the right hand side, bottom and the top right, and then we shall of course hit perfect. Ball will bounce nicely on the fairway, second bounce on the fairway, third bounce on the fringe to slow the ball down and prevent the ball from not having that glitch roll, which is unfortunately very common using more of the fairway on the right. And we roll that ball lovely in for an hole-in-one. I'm using a power 3, wind 4 ball and side spin 3 like the Centurion. If you do want to use a Kingmaker, you can do so, but I would strongly advise you to not play with a Kingmaker if the wind is above 10.7 miles per hour. What do you do if you do not have an Apocalypse level 8 in terms of position? Then you focus on the second bounce. Look at where the second bounce is. You can see that the second bounce is, we're going to turn the screen around a little bit, it will be just by the cutoff by the fringe and the green. And that is before you add spin. So you basically do like this. You start without spin. You find the equal amount of part of the red ring to the left in the bunker as you have the red ring to the right in the rough, with the second bounce just between the fringe and the green line. That is the way to do with a POC 5, a POC 6, a POC 7. And obviously with a POC 8 it makes it a little bit more easier. And the reason, once again, why I choose this route over the rock route, which has been played pretty frequently in many videos, is because we cannot play we cannot play the same way, as we will be going in between clubs, starting further back, and then we risk getting a glitch roll using the rock many of the time, which is obviously very unfortunate. So a nice chance here with Apocalypse for hole 7. For hole number 8, we are going to start in complete max distance with the red ring by the sand trap line on the right, with a POC 7 and a POC 8. Those of you playing with a POC 5, with a POC 6, goes half of the red ring inside the bunker. 6.8 bars of backspin, 1 bar of side spin to the right. We do adjust max plus 10, power 4 ball settings, so not power 3. Then we go with approximately 2 ball of curls to the right. Make sure to look at the triangle that we do have there to the right in how that is positioned. Pause, rewind, take a picture, and then that's gonna be fine. You can see that this ball comes in very nicely to green, and if we would maybe remove a little bit of backspin, we could have been even closer to an hole-in-one. This shot has been resulting into already some hole-in-ones for, friends of mine, which makes me obviously very glad. And now it's just for myself to go and get one as well. Extremely solid adjustment, very good one. Have in mind that when you have adjusted, you don't push up to max. You play with max overpower with a slow needle to make it even more simple than it is. Once again, we're gonna send it. So we start by having the ball guideline pointed to the middle of that little bush that is just beside the 2 trees there, that you can see there on the game stream pretty easily. Adjustment is going to be maximum distance plus 10. And once we have adjusted for maximum distance plus 10, we shall push up to max. Have in mind that the ball guideline should be pointing straight back towards the tee, otherwise you will be having a problem. 3 bars of side spin to the right, and I'm using 6 bars of top spin with 16.6 miles per hour. 1.5 ball of curl to the right is what I'm looking for. perfect ball obviously is the best that we can do. And then we will see the ball bounce nicely on the fairway and then get ourselves to the green area. In my book, 6 bars of topspin is a little bit too much. Obviously now I do get a little glitch roll there and still stay on the fairway for a very short and simple wedge because we have a straight headwind if we go over the green. But we need to reduce the topspin a little bit, use 5.5 bar topspin in low wind, and then obviously reduce that one slightly, the higher wind that you're having. If you have a wind below 16.5, you have a big risk of clipping the first rough. Is there any way to get around that? No. So this is what we used to call like a lottery hole when it comes to the wind. So you need to not pray, but you need to be lucky, and you need to get the wind above 16.5 to feel 100% comfortable that even with a great left and a great right, you will have your first bounce on the fairway. But if you would be happening to clip the rough with a very low wind, you will still have a short iron towards the pin. See, it's not that you're risking anything, but the albatross chances decreases massively if you do not have the correct wind, or like the correct wind strength on hole 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division Qualifying Round Edition for the Winter Major Tournament in Golf Clash. The game video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Play Gaming. Make sure you get the best master guides there is on the Golf Clash market by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.